Hey guys, so I'm going to be walking you through a process of how I create digital art. And for this example, we're going to be working with we're going to be creating a mitosis PFP, a simple mitosis PFP. So the software we're working with right now is Clip Studio Paint. Yes, and you can see me creating a new canvas. All you have to go to Files, New. Then I'm naming the file. Then we're going to be working with a size of 600 width and 600 for the height. Yes, so when you're done with that, setting all those settings, you just click on create new, and then you can see me saving the file. Yeah, we are going to have to save the file so it doesn't get lost. So we're going to save it as a Clip Studio format so I can come and edit the file. If we are going to edit the file next time, to be easier for us to just come open the file, make any changes we want to make on the file, and that's why we have to save it. And so I have to save it as a Clip Studio file. So first of all, you can see me selecting my pencil. I work with a mechanical pencil on Clip Studio. I like the mechanical pencil, and I like to work when I'm sketching. I like to work with a red pencil. I don't know, I just learned it from another illustrator, and it stuck with me. I've been working like that ever since. Yeah, so you can see I am sketching the basic idea for what I want to do for the PFP. Yeah, so don't be afraid to use your undos. You can see me constantly going back if I don't like the way a line is looking. If I don't like the way the sketch is looking, I will go back. I will use my undo button, which is Control Z, or depends on the shortcuts. I set my shortcuts. Yeah, so when you get the software on your PC or your phone, or your tablet, depending on whatever you're using, you set some setting shortcuts so that it will be faster to make your process faster. So you can see me undoing at certain times. If I don't like a line, I'll use the undo button. Yes, this is me using the area scaling. Use the lasso tool to select around the illustration. I wanted to increase the size, so I selected around the illustration, and you can see me kind of increasing the size and playing around with it. That's what the lasso tool helps you to do, and the free transform. Yes, so I was looking at the sketch, and I don't know, I think I'm not too pleased with the sketch yet, so I'm still going to work on a few things. I'm adding the ears now. I'm going to add the ears, and then I'm thinking about what else I should add to make it more creative. This is the sketching phase is where you pour out the ideas most times. But I like to make my sketching phase a little bit simple. Yeah, I don't like to do much in the sketching. I like to go straight. Immediately I get the basic foundation of what I need for the sketch, I just go straight into the inks. That comes with time though. When I initially started, I might do sketch 1, then I'll go over it again with another sketch, probably using a blue pencil or something. But with experience, I started just going straight into the inks, just to streamline the time it would take me to finish an illustration. That's why I stopped going over the sketch again with another sketch, or probably a blue color or something. Okay, now that we're done with the sketch, and I think I like this. I think this is a good foundation that we can work on. Okay, yeah, I forgot to add the eyes, and so I'll be doing that now. This just helps me to know the placement of where the eyes and the nose will be, so it wouldn't be off. You get? That's what guidelines are. I use a lot of guidelines most times when I'm drawing. And now that we're pleased with the sketch, I reduce the opacity. After reducing the opacity, it will allow me to easily see the lines I'll be making for my pen, when I'm inking. And for the inking, I'm going to be using a G Pen. The G Pen came with the Clip Studio application. It wasn't downloaded, it wasn't imported, it came with the software. So I'm going to be using a Clip Studio G Pen. And after reducing the opacity of the sketch, I created a new layer. Above the sketch. The ink layer is going to be above the sketch. Yeah, it's going to be a new layer above the sketch. And then you can see me just, I'm also, I'm working with references for like the clothing I like. I'm also looking at like maybe color schemes. You have to work with references to like get some ideas, especially when it comes to clothing and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm working with references, but it's on a different screen. And then you can see me undoing. If I don't like the lines, I'm going to definitely use my undo. I'm an undo abuser. Like I go crazy with the undos. If I don't like it, I'm going to undo it and do the line over again. Don't be afraid to use your eraser. Don't be afraid to undo. And then you go over it again just to make sure that you get that perfect line. You get the thing looking exactly the way you want it to be. You get. That's exactly why I use the undos. Yeah, so you can see me just trying to like figure out how the hand placement is going to be. Love the creative work is done in the mind. To be honest, you have to like think. That's why I believe good art takes time. I don't like to rush things most times. I like to take my time to make sure that okay, the idea is coming out exactly or to a good extent how I envisioned it. So I'm going to take my time. Sometimes you see me just stopping and like thinking if where I'm headed is like, is looking like with the vision, in line with the vision I have for the illustration. So I'll take some time out to like look at the whole thing and then like make changes if necessary, and if not necessary we go forward with the illustration just like that. Yeah, and so this is the inking phase. This is one of like my favorite phase. I like inking a lot, and so I take my time to make sure that the inks come out properly. Yeah, so you just see I just like turned off the sketch layer so I can like see the inks. If the inks are looking good enough on its own, you get sometimes when you leave the sketch layer on, it gives you this illusion that like the illustration is already looking good enough. That's like the inks, but you have to turn them off the sketch layer at some point to kind of like check if the inks are looking good on its own, because going forward you won't be using the sketch anymore. You only need the ink layer, so you need to check if it's looking good on its own. You get. Yeah, now you can see me adding the details, the like codes and all that. Also, take note of how I'm drawing the lines. Yeah, it comes with practice though. But you can see I like to make each line, like, I don't make it jagged. I'm not kind of like going over each line. When it comes to the ink, I'm not kind of like going over each line again and again. It has to be smooth. So I'm making sure like I know where each line wants to go. And so I make it, I do that in like a stroke. I try to do it in a single stroke. You understand? You can see the way I'm trying to like get each line in a single stroke. That's to make the ink look really neat. Yeah, that's to make your ink look very neat. So avoid jagged lines when you are inking, guys. But it depends. Some people have that kind of like art style where they intentionally like make the lines look rough and jagged just to give the drawing a little bit more energy. But personally, when it comes to Web3 art especially, I think it's all this kind of like style suits it. So I prefer, and personally, even in my personal illustrations now, I prefer to like go with this kind of like clean lined, the clean looking lines. And that happens when you don't go over the line over and over again. You just make sure that, okay, you have a vision of where you want the line to go, and then you just make it happen in a stroke, in a single stroke. Yeah, you can see the lines coming really well. I like how the lines are turning out now. I created a different layer for the glasses. Why I did that is to enable me easily erase like parts that I don't need. You get, like, you can see the mitosis itself, the character. So the glasses, if I drew it on the same layer as the character itself, it would be a bit difficult to edit and erase the parts that I don't need. That's why I created a different layer on the top of the character itself to add the glasses on top. After I'm like done with the glasses and making necessary adjustments, I merge the both layers. There's an option to merge there. If you look towards the right, there's an option to merge in the software. So I just merge both layers after I'm done. Yeah, so all these little lines I'm adding are just to kind of like add more interest to the illustration. Make it a little bit more detailed. That's what I'm going for. I'm making it more detailed with those tiny lines. Okay, now I think I'm pleased with these lines. I think I'm pleased with this, and after we're done with that, we're going to add a different, let's add something for the background. Let's do something simple for the background. We're going to use our color fill tool, which is a bucket tool. It allows you to just like pour colors to pour colors into space. If you are like drawing, and make sure that the lines are closed, there's no space in between, you can easily just use your color fill tool, which is your bucket tool, to just paste any color you want in there. So I think I'm going to be going with a reddish but light hue red, for the background, a simple background. And then we're going to be using our color fill tool as well to fill the character, each character with the colors that we need. It's a very simple and fast process when you're using the bucket tool. But the only thing that you have to do when it comes to filling your colors in is making sure that you have to go through the lines and then make sure that there is no spaces in between the lines. If not, the bucket tool will pour the colors out into the background or into other areas where you don't want it to get to. So you have to use your pen tool to close all the spaces in between the lines. If there are spaces in between the lines, you have to use the pen tool to close it, just like I'm doing now. And then you pour the color with the bucket tool, or you can manually just go over each area you want and color it, just the way I did just now. You can manually just go over it and color it. Okay, take note that I'm coloring the character on a separate layer below the line art layer. Okay, the layer I used to color to ink the inks, which I also call line art, is at the top, at the very top, and then there's a layer below it where I am adding the character colors. This coloring I'm doing now is on a different layer below the ink layer. Then the background color, that simple red that you're seeing there, is also below the color layer, below the character color layer. So everything is aligned. The inks are at the top, the color for the character is second, and then you have the background layer at the bottom. The sketch is already turned off. The sketch layer is already turned off, and it's at the very bottom also. You can see me. You have to, the color wheel. That's where you pick your colors from. And then I'm trying to look for a kind of dark bluish color. I wasn't really pleased with this color, so I went for a dark bluish color for the hood, or the sweater rather. And then you use your color wheel to kind of pick colors. You can see me trying to look for a color that will be sharp on the character and look good with both the background color and the color for the skin. And I went for a darker blue. And I'm using my bucket tool to kind of fill the areas that need to be filled. And then I'll go over those tiny areas with my pen, just color them in manually. So basically, all we're doing now is just filling the character with the necessary colors. The nose is going to be black, the glasses is going to be black. And so we just pick our color from the color wheel, and then we fill it up on the character layer. Yes, using our bucket tool and using our pen tool. You can see me going for a different, just to give that effect of the glasses is in a little bit a 3D shape. I went for a lighter black for the top side. It's just to give that effect of kind of light and create a 3D shape for the glasses. It's very faint and hard to see, but it's actually there if you look closely. So now we're done with filling the glasses. Now we're going to pick a color for the cap, and I'm going to go for this is me just checking through to make sure that each character, each space is properly filled with the color, necessary color. Yes, and now I'm going to go for the same color we used for the jacket. I'm going to use the same color for the hat, or for the cap rather, sorry. Yes, now that everything is properly filled in, normally I would do it on a different layer, but for this particular illustration, because it's a simple one, I am going to be working on the same layer. I'm going to add effects now, just little effects for like the shadows and the light. Now we have to pick a light source. Where is the light source coming from? Now for this particular illustration, it's coming from I chose to that the light source is coming from the top left, meaning the shadow is going to be like cast towards the like bottom right or the right side of the character. So all you do is you select each you can see me now, that cap, the blue, I selected it, then I went on the color wheel and went for a darker blue of that same color, and I just filled it in. And I went for the skin of the character itself, which is white. I went for it to the color wheel and I chose a darker white, and then I just use the pen tool to create that shadow effect on the character. You can see the way I'm doing the shadows. I'm not just putting shadows randomly. I'm putting it in areas that are towards the right bottom of the character, because the light is coming from the top left of the character, according to that's what I chose to do for this particular illustration. You can see me just filling them in using the pen tool to add the shadows. Okay, it's left with adding the shadows for the jacket. Okay, now I'm going to add lighting for the glasses to give it that cool shine effect. Like sunlight is when light is popping on the glasses, it's going to give that effect. That's what I'm doing right now, and I'm choosing a lighter color. I selected the black of the glasses, and I kind of use the color wheel to go for a lighter black, and that's a little bit white, and that's what I'm putting on the glasses right now. And you can see me using I'm creating cool shapes. I'm not just putting it randomly. I'm creating cool shapes on it to give a cool light effect on the glasses. Then I'm going to select the jacket color now, and I'm going for a darker shade of that same color from the color wheel. The color wheel is at the bottom left. You can see me going there. When I'm going there, I'm going to select colors, and I'm using that darker blue to kind of create that shadow effect on the jacket. The shadows are underneath the arms because the light is coming from the top. That's why it creates a shadow underneath the arm also. And so that about sums most of the process. This is okay, now I didn't like the way the background color was a little bit pale. So I'm going to, you go to edit, you go to tonal correction, and I'm going to kind of increase the saturation of that red to make the background stand out a little bit and make the character pop. Yes, you can see me increasing the saturation. Yeah, you can see how the red is coming out now. Yeah, and I'm fine with this. And that sums up the whole process of creating digital art. This is a simple process. It's a little bit deeper than this when you're trying to like create complex stuff with backgrounds and all that, but this is the basic concept. And so now we're going to save this. You go to File, you save, then you go to Save as JPEG, and you save. That's all. Click on Yes, and that's about everything. And then if you go to your whatever folder you saved it on, you can just open it and you can see it as a JPEG file.